Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back to another episode of the Positive Head Podcast. Here we are, floating in eternity, nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing we have to see here. Just sort of going with the flow, right? Right. That's what you're doing, sitting in traffic, pulling your hair out, hopefully, hopefully not. So I want to continue today talking a little bit about sort of the topic we've been circling and looking at from all different angles, and that is surrender. No, life has no purpose but life itself. There's nothing to do here, nothing you have to do. You've already arrived. And this is a big topic for all of us, right? We all feel this need to perform, to become something, to be more, to evolve, to become enlightened, to, be as good as the Facebook friend who has such a magical life that they custom tailor to your news feed, right? Posting all the highlights. And we're all trying to get somewhere and figure something out. And really, in that process, we're getting to the point where we realize we can just drop it all. I know for a lot of people, finding this podcast has been helpful for a lot of people, a lot of feedback. And I think I know that that's a great step to a lot of people's sort of awakening, and is finding something that rings true, that helps to inspire them. But even that, you will continue to listen, hopefully, or not. And that's fine too. If you move beyond sort of putting any special energy on me or the show or anything outside of self. There's nothing that you need. There's nowhere you need to go. No one has the answers that you don't already have. All I can do is remind you of what you've forgotten, right? As I remind myself daily, it's like, don't forget, Brandon, don't forget. Remember. Well, I just decided to turn on the microphone as I'm reminding myself and reminding you in the process. So, it's one of these things where anything that we get sort of attached to, we have to ultimately learn to create a healthy sense of detachment, of not needing it. Certainly, I know a lot of you guys are anxious to tune in, and I love that. I want that to continue, but create that sense of healthy detachment from the show, from the partner that you have, from the children that you have, in a way that is allow them to be their own autonomous beings. We don't need to be. We are self-sufficient. We are alone. We are self-sufficient, and we are love. And as we tune in more and more to that understanding, there's nothing that I need outside of myself. Not the show, not a book, not a spouse, not a relationship with, friends, family, any of that. In a very good way. It doesn't mean you don't continue to have it. You just move beyond the unhealthy attachment or need to feel fulfilled for it to show up in a certain way. And so, this is a heavy topic, of course, and we've been talking about things along this line all week, and I'm going to continue with that. Before I do, although I guess I already have started going, right? Backstep. Let's go back to reviews, right? You guys know I love my reviews on iTunes, and I have some new reviews that I'm excited about that fuel my fire to continue this labor of love. And if you haven't reviewed on iTunes, please do so. Also, writing questions. If you haven't ever written in a question you'd like for me to address something, Brandon at positivehead.com, or you can just go through the contact page on positivehead.com. Yeah. What else? Oh, the Facebook group, Positive Heads, with an S. Lots and lots of lovely listeners connecting there, sharing, supporting one another. New friendships are being formed. Old friendships are being rekindled, rather, right? It's all soul family. None of us are strangers here. We're just pretending. This is a game. We're pretending. You know me. I know you. Soul family. Nice to meet you again. Pretend to meet you again. This is how we play. And connect with other soul family there. It's a beautiful thing. Let's see. This review by Battery Star. And the title is Episode 378. Emotion is a real, impactful force that affects the physical world. Is what they put as a title. I've listened to a few Brandon Beacham podcasts, and this was the podcast that grabbed me. This was a refreshing listen on emotions. I've been pretty bogged down on self-conventional ways of thinking about my own emotions and not really thinking about transformational vibration or finding any new ways of thinking about manifestations. This episode actually got to me about what we do all the time and the possibility that I've been unaware of it. I really enjoyed the closing song by Drum Spider, Adventure in Istanbul. Thank you for the positive message, content, vibes, and introducing me to some cool new music. Well, thank you, Battery Star, for your detailed feedback and putting out there the show that really inspired you. I love that. And I love hearing people that find something that, what I would recommend for people, if you're ever having a question or about something, you've ever having a thought about something and you're like wanting to get some sort of answer. Well, with almost 400 episodes, there's most likely something in there that I've addressed. So I would recommend as a fun game with me, with you, with our higher selves, choose a random episode sometime and put it on. Like do a little meditation and say, okay, what do I need most right now? And then just go in and choose something super random. All the episodes are back on positivehead.com, complete, all the way back to number 1. And see what you find. I think that is a really fun way to play. Just to give you guys an example, a few days ago, I received a email from someone whose question I answered on episode 377. And this is just a prime example of how these things can play out. Here's what they wrote. Thank you for answering my question on episode 377. Glad we shared some synchronicity together. I will definitely take your words and apply them in the best way possible to my life path. When my family is ready to listen, I'll be here. So the question that she had written in about was, how do I approach my family to talk about this stuff? And what if they're not ready or not responding well to it? And you can listen back and there's some synchronicity around it. So this is her follow-up afterwards. I think it was a she, if I recall. Sorry if I got that wrong. It's been a minute. And anyway, to continue with what she wrote. She, he, whoever wrote, I'd like to share something else with you, just to tickle you with more synchronicity. Yesterday, I was scrolling through your episodes on SoundCloud with the intentions of finding one that would resonate with me. They all do, really, but I was hoping for something to pop out at me and answer my question, the one I asked in the review submission. Goes to show you how impatient I can be. So I guess this was before she heard me answer it on the show. Anyway, I scroll through, literally eyes closed, and open my eyes to episode 185. So going back a ways. I read the title and press play. Discovered also quite by accident that you could click just below the audio and your profile picture and will show up as it plays. I played it slightly before the middle of the podcast audio randomly, not knowing what would be said in that episode at that specific runtime, close to 13 minutes in. I got chills as you started answering my question at the spot in that episode. You touch on your personal life with family and play a segment from Carolyn Miss, who talks about us living in the same building on different floors with different views. Wow, I cannot thank you enough. past Brandon and present Brandon help me out so much. I'm just overflowing with love and gratitude. Thank you for answering my question twice. Love you. Yesterday, I was clever and I wanted to change the world. Today, I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. So what a great example of how you can play, right, with the shows and go randomly choose something and see what comes up. So in this case, she was waiting. I hadn't answered her question yet. She chooses a random episode. There, I answer it, I don't know, 6 months ago, a year ago, whenever, going back a couple hundred episodes. And and then, of course, I answer her question soon thereafter on another episode. So she got two answers. And what a fun, if you're not sure, talk about sort of like a confirmation that what you're getting is good information for you. When you come across it in a synchronistical way like that, it's just such a beautiful thing, right? It's so cool, so much fun. The universe is definitely playful, and we're all figuring out how to play here together, right? So to continue on with the topic today, surrendering and so forth, so on, I found some quotes, some poetry that I love. I pulled out one is a quote by Eckhart Tolle, who says, "Sometimes surrender means giving up trying to understand and being comfortable with not knowing," right? That's something we've been talking about all week, right? Just let go. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to relax. You're floating in eternity. You got nowhere to go, nothing you have to do. You have places you will go, but you have nowhere you've got to go. Big difference, right? You're an eternal being that's always been and always will be. Change is guaranteed. What else matters, right? Nothing in the best kind of way possible. Rumi said, "How did you get here? Close your eyes and surrender. They are the chosen ones who have surrendered. The hurt that we embrace becomes joy." So not only talking about surrender, but embracing whatever shows up, right? A master is someone who embraces whatever shows up because they realize it's exactly what they need. It's always happening for you, right? Not to you. And they are the chosen ones who have surrendered. Be crumbled so wildflowers will come up where you are. You have been stony for too many years. Try something different. Surrender. That's Rumi again. Wildflowers will come up where you are. It's like the butterfly, as it's being destroyed in the cocoon, right? As the caterpillar's being ripped apart as it becomes a butterfly. That's part of the path of what we are doing, right? You're transforming, and as you transform, there's going to be some turbulence, and that turbulence is by design. It's part of the process, and resisting it only makes it painful. Surrendering to it becomes beautiful. Here's one that's almost the opposite. Hafiz saying, "Don't surrender your loneliness so quickly." Now, in that case, what is he saying? He's saying, "Don't surrender your loneliness so quickly." Isn't that the same as surrendering to your loneliness? He's saying, don't run away from loneliness. So that would be the same as surrendering to your loneliness, right? Don't surrender your loneliness so quickly. Let it cut you more deep. Let it ferment and season you as few humans and even divine ingredients can. Something missing in my heart tonight has made my eyes so soft, my voice so tender, my need for God absolutely clear. And be with it, right? If he's just saying, just be with the loneliness. Don't run from it. Find the beauty in it. Let it cut you more deeply. It makes your eyes soft. It makes your voice tender. It makes your need for God clear, right? You know what you want in contrast to what you don't have or feel in that moment. And that's necessary. That's a necessary part of selecting, sifting, as Abraham would talk about, right? As these things continue to happen, whatever pops up is it's forming what it is that you want to move in the direction of next, right? Without attachment is the key, is what we're talking about here, though. Tripping Over Joy by Hafiz. What is the difference between your experience of existence and that of a saint? The saint knows that the spiritual path is a sublime chess game with God, and that the beloved has just made such a fantastic move, that the saint is now continually tripping over joy and bursting out in laughter and saying, "I surrender." Whereas, my dear, I am afraid you still think you have 1,000 serious moves. So let go of all the serious moves and planning and calculating what should I do, who should I be, where should I go next, and burst out into laughter. I surrender. Doesn't it feel good to just let go and all the tension is eased. You don't need to get anywhere. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to be anything more than what you are. You're perfect right where you are. You are the absolute pinnacle of success, just being you. Isn't that a wonderful feeling? Such a calming feeling to just let all that tension melt away. I mean, wow, such a great feeling. All right, let's take a minute. Let's listen to some Alan Watts, a short clip here. It's called, the title of this was Accept It and You'll Be Good at It. And I found it on the Reality Rebel YouTube page. Take a listen.
It's a story about a man who has a fight with a circus bear. And the bear reads his mind and always forestalls any attack that he makes on it. There's absolutely nothing he can do to get past the bear. And so, in the same way, you might imagine a guru who is a mind reader, and he always knows if you decide before you act. And if you do, you see, the devil will catch you. Instead, you see, of deciding that you won't be an alcoholic anymore, the only thing to do is not to drink, without any previous decision on this matter. But how can anyone do that, you see? That's the question. How can I decide not to decide? How can I announce that I won't make any announcement without making an announcement? You see, there is no way out of that bind. Try as you may, you go on and on and on, trying, as Herigel did, to release the bowstring without thinking first to release it. But then, strangely enough, one day the thing happened. He did it. And this is involved in our learning of almost all techniques, that we work and work to achieve that final point of perfection. And it doesn't come, and then one day it happens. Now, what is the reason for that? Is it simply, and this is really, a way it's usually explained, but this is an oversimplification. It is not that we have practiced it so often that it suddenly becomes perfect. It is much more subtle than that. What happens is that we've practiced so often that we find out we can't do it. And it happens at the moment you know you can't do it. When you reach a certain point of despair, when you know that you are the one weird child who will never be able to swim, at that moment you're swimming. Because the desperation and the total inability to do it at all has brought you to a point which we might call don't care. You stop trying, you stop not trying to get it that way. You just have arrived at the insight that your decision, your will, doesn't have any part in the thing at all. And that's what you needed to know. You've overcome, you see, the illusion of having a separate ego. There is no way of telling anyone that that's an illusion and getting appropriate action, because we are thoroughly indoctrinated with the idea that it's real. And if I say, well, I'm going to get rid of my ego, that's what the Taoists call beating a drum in search of a fugitive. He hears you coming. So the ego, that is to say, the illusion of having a separate will and a separate I center that can be an effective agent, that cannot be overcome by a decision which seems to be centered in the ego. You might as well put out fire with fire. It can come only when an attempt to act from the ego center has been revealed to be completely futile. Then the thing happens, because you've really discovered that it was, after all, an illusion.
Alan Watts always kind of melts your brain with some of the perspectives, right? How can I decide that I'm not going to decide? How can I announce that I won't make an announcement without making an announcement? It's not that we have practiced so hard that we become perfect at something. We practice so often, we ultimately find out we can't do it. You come to a point where you don't care. You stop trying. How many people, we all can relate to that feeling. Whatever. I don't care anymore. And you surrender. And when you surrender, everything opens up. So whatever it is that you're resisting in your life at this time, whatever you're chasing so hard, you need so bad, you got to get there, you're fighting for it. Let it come to a point where you don't care. Stop trying, surrender, and watch how things transform. You decide, essentially what he says is you realize your will has no part in the thing at all. You've overcome, in that instant, you overcome the illusion of having a separate ego. A lot of people, of course, as we go down this path, we're trying to overcome ego. And I've talked about that recently with Osho as well, a few days ago. Saying you're going to get rid of ego is like beating a drum in search of a fugitive, the Taoists say. So you hear you coming a mile away. Let go of all these ideas. They're a starting point. They're necessary. It's all a starting point. But at the end of the day, let it all go. When an attempt from ego is proven to be futile, then the thing happens, right? So let's just skip to that step, right? All the resistance, all the hardship, all the self-judgment, you can just let it melt away. It's not necessary. It's a step. It's a necessary step. But now we're coming to a new step of just easing the tension completely and allowing. Well, all you lovely listeners, positive heads, fellow friends, family, soul family, et cetera, et cetera. It's been a lovely experience to connect with you all as always. I do have some music to leave you with. I love this track. It's beautiful. Seems appropriate. It's titled Step Wrong, saying, yeah, I'm going to get it wrong sometimes. That's okay. This is by Ash Walker featuring Sage. Until next time, journey well.
Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.
I go. I'm bound to get a step wrong. I'm bound to get a step wrong. I'm bound to get some steps wrong. I'm bound to get a step 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 wrong. I'm bound to get some steps wrong. Step wrong. I'm bound to get a step wrong. I'm bound to get some steps wrong. I'm bound to get one step wrong. I said I'm bound to get a step wrong.